What's going on? What's going on? Vibrations. This is your boy, Perrin James, and welcome to another episode of I'm sorry, Vibes at the Table podcast. If you are familiar with the show, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube. And also, I definitely want to appreciate all the poets who participate in the poem challenge each weekend. We have these different topics that we have for inspiring poets to write to. You know what I mean? If you want to participate in the poem challenge, just go to the hit us up on Gmail, Poeticvibezentertainment at gmail.com. Um, this is going to be a behind the pen interview. I have a very, very special guest come to the stage. You know what I mean? I've seen her perform, you know, a few times, and just, her story, is just amazing. I mean, amazing person, amazing poet, amazing talent. So, without further ado, welcome to the stage, Simply Perrin. How you doing, Miss Perrin?
I'm doing well, Jack Penn Game. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing good. Doing good. Can't
Thank
complain
you
on
for
this
that
side.
beautiful introduction.
Oh yeah, no problem. No problem. I mean, they always for the best. Always for the best. You know what I mean? So, all right. So let's like dive into it. So, born and raised, where you from?
Detroit, Michigan, East Side, all the way.
Oh,
Still here.
okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. You know what I mean? That's next door to my old hometown, Chicago, Illinois. You know what I mean? Shout out to all the poets in Detroit City. You know what I mean? So what inspires you to write poetry? What made Simply Perrin want to write poetry?
When I first wrote my first piece, I was emotional.
Mm,
Um, and I kept it to myself because I thought it was a little childish. But then I never wrote again after that. That was back in high school.
okay.
Um, but then I went to a poetry event in which I saw some very amazing poets. One of them being Coco Weaponry, who was the host of the event as well.
Shout out to
And
Coco.
just, yes, shout out to Coco, because it's because of her that I'm now writing and reciting my poetry. Um, I went to her event and I saw other people be vulnerable and I saw them open up their hearts, and that connected with me. So I went home that night, wrote out a piece in a couple of hours, called Coco that evening about 2 a.m. in the morning.
Mm,
Um,
yeah, I can hear. Okay.
I grew up with her, so I kind of got a little bit
Oh,
extra,
that's cool. Okay, no problem. No problem.
but and I recited it to her, and she told me, "Go for it, do it."
Okay. You know what? Just a quick short story. You know what I mean? When I did my first portrait video with Coco, you know what I mean? I was like nervous because like it was like my very first like video that I was doing. It was called Mindful. Matter of fact, check out Mindful on YouTube. Coco Weaponry featuring Pink and James. Mindful. You know what I mean? And I was just, I mean, I felt silly doing it. You know what I mean? But if you know how Coco is, like it's like she don't care about looking silly. It's like she is a artiste
Yes,
in every sense of the word. You know what I'm saying? So I just went out there, did my thing, and it's just like having someone like that to like push you
yes,
be your best self is it's a very good thing to have. I mean, it's like once again, shout out to Coco, big shout out to Coco, and her husband Cannon, shout out to Cannon too. You know what I
yes.
mean? But but that's good. That's good. So like, as you're doing this, have you gone to school for like I want to say any type of schooling that you've ever been to for art? You know what I mean, the performance art.
Not exactly. My middle school was a school for the gifted and talented, and so we
Mm,
were exposed to a lot of art. We definitely dove deep into how to write properly, punctuation, and all of that good stuff.
Okay.
We did touch on poetry, but it wasn't a class. It was just
I
in your
got you.
regular educational background.
Okay.
Um, so my background is actually, I absolutely am in love with dance.
Okay.
That's where I really, my creativity really started to come out. So I learned dance and drama at that school.
Okay.
Um, Creative writing was part of it, but it wasn't a focus.
Got you.
So
Okay.
no, I didn't go to school for learning how to write like this.
Okay. All right. No problem. I mean, now, do you wish you would have had went to a school that did cater to more poetry and or spoken word?
I wish I understood it better. I can't say that I wish I went to school for it. Um, but I am working on understanding poetry a little bit more
Okay.
because I do want my writing to progress. I never
Got you.
really realized until about 2000, I think it was 17, that I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to write or that I had something in me that needed to write.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say that I ever really wanted to go to school, but I definitely want to learn more now.
I got you. I got you. And like that's one of the things that I really wish that I personally would have had with the school for was for poetry and or spoken word. I think if I didn't let my speech impediment get in the way, I probably would have had pursued it more. You know what I mean? And just like you, at a young age, I was like 16. I started to write poetry, but I didn't have the appreciation of poetry until I want to say like my 20s. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And I feel like that's so important to have a appreciation for it and to study the history of it.
Yes.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So, but that being said, so like, how long have you been doing poetry?
Um, on this level since about 2017 when I went to that first show that Coco Weaponry had in Hazel Park in Michigan.
Okay,
Um, I didn't start performing it till 2018 though, when she had her
mm,
next show in Detroit, and that was my
okay,
first time really performing it.
okay. Now, question: were you nervous the first time you performed, and how
Extremely.
did you get over
I was
it?
extremely nervous. Um, I think my background in dance helped me to get over it. I just I wanted it to be raw, the emotion that I was given with my piece.
Mm,
And so when I got up on stage, I was thinking about it before I got up on stage. I had went over it in my head a couple of times, looked at it a couple of times, and then I got on the stage and I just took a deep breath. Okay, let's go. Thought about who I wanted to be, who I wanted to portray as I was
okay,
giving my performance. And I
mm,
focused on that instead of focusing on all these people are looking at me.
right, gotcha, right, okay,
But I learned how to do that through dance. So I
okay,
do still have stage fright. You should still have stage fright every time you step on the stage.
okay. No, that's interesting because I think people focus so much on, like you said before, like so many eyes on them. You know what I mean? That it's like they can't like get into the act itself.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Um, Now you mentioned dance before. Now, like, how does having a background in dance help you with your poetry?
I would say having a background in dance helps me with my poetry in that with dance, when you're creating a piece, you have to think outside the box. You want to do
Very
something
true.
different. You want to do
Right.
something that someone hasn't seen before.
Hmm.
Because if you do what someone else has done, you're just mimicking. There's no creativity there. So dance helped me to be creative in my mind long back when I was 10 years old. It also helped me in that when you're in dance, you can let your emotions out in a productive way. So I've learned how to let my emotions out in a productive way in my work.
Okay. Nice. 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 Okay. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that I do appreciate about poetry is that it forces you to be different.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like if I'm watching, the and like these like the poets that Washington Towns, if I watch, the Black Chocolates of the world, if I watch, the A Dot Beans of the world, you know what I mean? I'm a fan of what they do, but I don't want to like, copy exactly what they do. I just want to be excellent in not just my writing, but also in my performance. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think, being versatile in this arena is definitely a must.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I feel like it's definitely a must for like someone that's like coming in to definitely understand that you have to be different from, like everybody else that's doing poetry because it's only one you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like we've heard all the other stories of the poets, but we don't know your story yet. You know what I mean? So that really like helps poets, who are just coming in to come in and try to be as versatile as they possibly can. You know what I mean?
Right.
I remember watching one of the events that Coco had, and she had this one poet, and she was dressed in I think a mermaid outfit, something like that.
Okay.
You know what I
I don't think
mean?
I saw that one. I got to go back and look.
It was nice. It was nice. And I wish I could recall her name, but it was a nice speech that she gave. But just like that's a example of just being versatile and not being afraid of being yourself on
Right.
stage. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Now hear your poetry. Now you recite or before your poetry. Um, you talk about your past a lot. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? One of the things that I remember you mentioned was being afraid to speak, or you had a problem speaking as a child. So that been said with us. Like, how did what was the thing that you was going through that that you have a hard time speaking, and how did poetry help with that?
Oh, that's a deep one. Uh, with that one, I was raised in a very, very strict household,
Okay.
and we were always being told to shut up, just shut
Mm,
up, just shut up, know your place. Um, and whenever I would try to speak up, I was pushed away. I was told no. You know, um, there's a piece that I wrote called "I Tried," which is the first piece that I did with Coco.
mm,
Um, and I talk about a moment where I asked one of my parents, "Why don't you love me?"
mm.
And they actually gave me an answer as to why they don't.
Oh wow. Wow.
So,
Okay.
and that actually happened. Um, but so not having a voice as a child, along with the fact that I did have a lisp, I did stutter. I still have my lisp. I still stutter, just not as bad. I was
Mm.
in speech therapy for about 4 years.
I was
Um,
too. All from just
and
high
I,
school, all 4
yes,
years.
mine was in elementary school, so
Okay.
they caught me in my formative years,
Gotcha.
um, which I think really helped because they taught me to slow down. Because my problem was I was thinking too fast. I was thinking of what I wanted to say before I could speak it out.
Same thing
And
with
so I
me,
would
right?
stumble over, yeah, I would stumble over my words all the time. Um, and because it took me so long to get it out, that's another reason why they told me shut up. Just shut up.
Okay. Gotcha.
So when dance originally started me on that healing process, because I didn't have to speak, I could express how I felt with the music and my movement. But then
Okay.
when I got into poetry, I learned that I can have a voice. I can speak my voice, and it's okay as long as I'm not disrespectful, as long as I'm not rude, as long as I'm not tearing somebody else down. Those are my parameters that I put on my poetry. So when you hear me saying something negative about something, it's because I'm trying to work it out through my mind and then bring it back to a positive place. So poetry has helped me learn how to express hurt,
Mhm.
express anger, express frustration without physically doing it, without showing it really here either. Because if I'm talking to somebody, I'm going to mean mug them. What is your
Mhm.
problem? I
Right.
don't want to go to somebody like that. That's not going to solve anything.
I got you. I just I mean, like, it makes total sense. I know for me, you know what I mean, like having a speech impairment at 6 years old, I had like a bad stomach problem. You know what I mean? But it was, but it was inherited. You know what I mean? And it really caused me to be a quiet kid in my like younger years. You know what I mean? Teenage years, I would say it was worse because I was like going to school with the, I mean, like the kids who were just like very like vulgar and just like say what they felt. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And it really made me not want to like speak at all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then, me finding poetry, you know what I'm saying? Like it helped me to it gave me a voice. You know what I mean? Because like before that I had wanted to rap, but I want to say with like poetry, I felt more comfortable because I didn't have to like stay on beat. I didn't feel distracted with the instrumental playing. You know
Right.
what I mean? And even at my age now, you know what I mean? And like sometimes I still feel like I'm that same 6 year old trying to prove to everybody that that I'm that I have something special to offer.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think when you go through that as a child, you know, it changes you. You know what I mean? Like it changes like how you feel about yourself, and it like damages your self esteem.
It definitely does. It definitely does. I know you could probably attest to it, and I can attest right along with you. When you go through things that hurt you psychologically,
Hmm.
it messes with your self-esteem. No two
Definitely
ways
does.
about it.
Definitely does.
I think poetry helps you to realize that yes, I've been through that, but this is how I'm dealing with it, and this is how I can get through it. So,
Exactly. Right, exactly. I mean, and like I remember when Steve Harvey said one time on the TV show, I forgot what TV show that was, but like I didn't know that he had a speech impairment, and like he said when he had it, it was torture, and I felt him, when he said it because it is torture. You know what I
hmm,
mean? Even at my age, like sometimes I mean, my story still comes out. You know what I mean? It's not as bad as it used to be, but it still comes out. You know what I mean? And
right,
it's you know what I mean, rough where like you can't really control what you're saying or like more so how you're saying it because it's just something that it just happens. I mean,
right,
but I do agree, like, going to speech therapy definitely helps, you know what I mean? And then just, learning how to talk slower
hmm,
definitely helps because your mind is not, it's not trying to it's not racing as much.
right,
You know what I mean? And it's a beautiful thing when you overcome something like that.
yeah.
Definitely is. So my next question for you is like, how does it feel to like overcome what you've been through, and then doing something like poetry, which like gives you the freedom to just express yourself the way you want to, and as you speak about your past feelings, like it like gives you a boost of confidence. I mean,
Yeah.
so like, how does it feel being able to express yourself and tell your story?
It feels good. Um, Someone recently told me, I don't know if I want to hear what you talking about because you write angry. But when I sat down and tried to analyze why they felt that way and spoke with them afterwards, I understood what they meant
I got
because
you.
I have to be emotional when I write.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
start I'm starting to get past that. But
Mm,
I guess because I'm new, that's where the inspiration is coming from. But it's not anger. It's a release of frustration, which is different for me. Because with angry, if I'm an angry writer, you might not get the poem out. You might
true.
find stabs of paper somewhere, just pen
Mm.
scratch through the paper.
Right.
But it feels good to be able to write about something that affected me emotionally. And now I can sit back and as I look at it, it helps me to heal. But what really feels good about it is that I can take that same thing that hurt me and show somebody else how you succeed with it. You
Mm.
don't have to stay here in this balled up angry state. You can start to release things one at a time.
Makes total
So
sense.
you can let go. You can see things differently.
Makes total sense. And it's like that's such a relief for you as a person and as an artist. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Which like leads to my next question. You know what I mean? Like, what would you say to someone who is just coming to poetry as yourself and may have suffered the same things as like you have, but they want to express themselves, express themselves in this, poetry slash spoken word format. Like, what would you say to that person?
Keep a pen and paper next to you at all times. Keep a pad next to you. Because I can't tell you how many times, oh, I should write that. I don't have nothing to write with. And then by the time I get home or whatever, I done lost it. So that's number one. Keep a pen and paper with you at all times. Um, Two, I would tell them do it. Just because you write it doesn't mean you have to perform it. But if you want to get into the performance aspect of it, do it. It's okay. We have to be careful about saying certain things. You can't be threatening people and stuff like that. But
Right.
but you can write about your experience where maybe someone threatened you or you felt like you wanted to threaten. You can write about it. And when you start out, it's not going to be perfect.
That's
Don't
true.
expect perfection.
I agree.
Expect to be emotional.
I agree.
There's uh, it's just so many pieces where I've sat up in the middle of the night writing and I look down at my paper and there's teardrops on it,
Mm,
because I didn't start off that way. I started off mad. But by
mm,
the time I finished writing about it makes you process what you went through and it makes you hear yourself and hear how you're thinking about it.
I
So
agree.
sometimes just writing it is therapeutic.
That
Just
is
write.
true. That that's true. That's true. I mean, like, I like I want to know how I would feel if I wasn't doing this. You know what I mean? Because like writing, my thoughts down in this type of format and like performing it. You know what I mean? It like gives you such a release, and then it's like you don't know who you like affecting
Mm-hmm.
by doing this. You know what I mean? Like I remember a few years back was the first time, and all my years of like writing and performing poetry was the first time I've ever performed a poem about my speech impairment.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I've written poems, like different type of poems, but just writing about my speech impairment was like the first time a few years ago was like the first time that I've ever, talked about, you know, how it made me feel while I was, 6 years old or in like grade school. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And just doing that, I just felt great about it. You know what I mean? And then it's like and like, having friends and like the crowd just saying how like they appreciate you expressing yourself in this like format and seeing, your story of how, you was doing this, but I mean like you was born this way and now you're performing. It just like it's like it like gives a testament of there's no such thing as can't, basically.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when there's a will there's a way, basically.
Right.
You know what I mean? But before we cut out, tell everyone, where can they find your work of poetry? You know what I mean? Like how can they see see you perform or like hear you? You know, like you know what I mean, like like let us know.
Um, well, I have to give thanks to Coco Weaponry and Cannon Shooter once again because they post some of the stuff on their Instagram page. um, for me right now, come to the events. I don't do a lot of performances, but come to Coco Weaponry's events. That's where I'm mainly performing right now. Eventually, I would like to expand a little bit more,
Mm,
reach a few more people that, might be affected with some of the same things I've been through in that arena because I do find it encouraging and upbuilding and uplifting. I can't tell you how many people have uh, come to me afterwards. One person told me, "You talking about my mama, aren't you?" I'm like, I don't even know who your mama is, but okay, no. But just it's at the events. I like doing it in person. I like letting you know. So I know there's probably some more coming up soon. I'm not signed up for anything yet, but I'm hoping
okay.
to be in the near future.
Okay, cool. And as I said before, again, I'm hoping to like attend one of Coco's events one of these days. You know what I mean? She throws like the best like poetry jam like ever seen. So like once again, shout out to Coco Weaponry and Canada Shooter. You know what I mean? Thank you so much, Perrin, for stopping by and let us get to know you like a little bit. You know what I mean? Thank you for everyone for listening in. Check us out, Vibes at the Table Podcast on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and on Instagram. You know what I mean? And we look forward to seeing y'all next month. All right? We out here.
All right.